So hi, welcome to another video. My name is Ilse and today I bring you a video where I talk to you about all the books that I have read so far this year, except for April because I have an April wrap-up. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave the link down below or somewhere here on the eye. I do not know where the eye is right now, but you click on it if you want to see that. I know you want to. So yeah, I've read, as far as this year goes, I've read about 30 books, and I'm pretty happy with the outcome because, let's be honest, this year I'm slacking off. If you are new to my channel, for the last 2 years, I think, or 3 years, for the last 2 years, I've been having to read, it's not like I have to, but I've been pushing myself to read 100 books or more, and I have completed that in the previous years. Last year I read about 90 books, 90 something books. I tried, but it was just so much stuff going on at work. And this year I decided to, not to overstress myself because I knew work was gonna be a little harder this year. So I put my goal to read 60 books this year, and I'm already halfway through it, so yay me. Now I'm just gonna tell you all the books that I've read so far, except not so far, until April, mostly because I want to share you what I've read, and maybe you guys have read it, and maybe you leave your feelings down below. So we shall see what happens. I don't know. I don't even know I think I have forgotten how to use booktube, so excuse me. So one of the books that I have read this year is The Young Elites by Mary Lou, which I think most people have read already, and if not, you should pick it up because it's amazing. I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I have previously read this Legend series by Mary Lou and loved it as well, but this is different from her Legend series actually. This is a fantasy, and it follows an anti-hero story, and it's very dark, and I just enjoyed it. Basically, what this book is about this girl, or this world where a girl lives, obviously, but it's about a world where a strange disease crashed into this realm, or world, I guess you could say, and it left marks, or very specific marks on certain people, and those people are enhanced or have powers. So they're like the bad people, or the people being discriminated in the society, and basically that's where the story kind of starts in a way. And I really love this book, so we have a book talk about this, or a discussion video. I'll also leave the link down below or somewhere here on the app if you want to check that out. With my friends Jen, Kevin. We read this book in, I cannot remember what month we read it, but we read this and it was amazing. I loved it. They loved it. Well, Kevin didn't really love it as much as Jen and I, but nonetheless we loved it. And I obviously read the sequel, The Rose Society, because I already owned it, and I said, why not? I mean, I love the characters, so it actually took me a little while to get into this book for some weird reason, but once I got into it, holy damn. I cannot tell you what the book goes or is about because it kind of picks up where the first book ended, but it's a very dark book. The character is actually kind of scary. It's not, I cannot explain how I feel about this character, but I really love her, and it's scary at the same time. The story is very dark, and I think I've said dark 1,000 times, but I really loved it, and I think it's really worth the read, and I'm really excited to see where the story goes. I don't know if there's redemption for these characters. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I loved it. It was painful, but I loved it. I also started The Raven Boys by Vader. A lot of people, great. A lot of people have read the series or currently finishing the series because The Raven King came out, I think 2 weeks ago or a week ago, I cannot remember. I actually have the third and the second book, and I have not finished it, but I will. I just haven't been drawn to finish the series just yet, but I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars or 4.5 out of stars on Goodreads, mostly because I was confused half the time of the book, and and I would tell you what the book is about, but I'm still not quite sure I entirely know what the book is about. All I know is about this girl Blue and her Raven boys, and they're different boys, and one boy is supposed to die because the girl falls in love with him or something, and then there's this thing that they want to find. And the story is confusing a little bit, but once you get into it, it's interesting. So if you have not picked this up, you are rare, because a lot of people have been raving about the series and the characters in the book, and like I said, the Raven King came out a few weeks ago, so a lot of people have already read this, and I have not, but I will, soon enough, I will. I also forgot to mention we read this in my book club, and I'll leave also like the discussion video somewhere down below or up in the eye. Like I said, I don't know where the eye is, but yes, we read that. I also read The Sixth Damsel by Courtney Ruggles. I actually was sent this for review back in January or in December. Cannot remember, but I was contacted by the author herself and her publicist to see if I would review this book when the book came out, and I did. I rated this book 3.5 or 3 stars out of 5 stars on Goodreads, mostly because it was kind of hard to get into it with the language or a certain word that really bothered me, but nonetheless the story is good. It's a dystopian new adult, and I have not read a lot of dystopians new adult, so that was new for me, but this was really cool. I will tell you what the book is about, but it's kind of confusing, but let me try. This book follows a couple, I guess you could say, or kind of a couple, where they live in this society where they cannot show their face, so they wear masks. So they don't even have names, they have numbers. They kind of like jumbled numbers and letters all together. And it's kind of like the Match trilogy in a way. When they get to a certain age, they kind of get sent off to marry someone or someone with their same capabilities, and the government does this for them, and the women have to do all this stuff and the men have to do this other stuff, and it's a dystopian. Like, you get what I say when I say dystopian, because it's kind of like what the story is about. And I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm actually really excited for the sequel, which is coming out this year, which is kind of crazy, but I'm so excited to read it. And the author is the sweetest person ever. She gave me a signed copy of her book, so thank you, Courtney, if you're watching this. Thank you for trusting me to read this and review it. So another book that I also read, that I have read this year, is Winter by Marissa Meyer. I know this book came out last year and I read it this year because why not? I read this and I enjoyed it a lot. This book is like about 800 plus pages, but the pages are super thin. But I'm so happy that I finally finished this, but at the same time really sad because I miss this character so much now that I'm thinking about it. But I loved it, and I will tell you what the book is about, but I will spoil book 1, 2, and 3, so go ahead and read it. It basically is a story about retelling, Cinderella retelling, and then in each book we follow a different character, but at the end the characters intertwine with each other, and it's amazing. I have not read Stars Above, which is a collection of short stories from different characters of the book, or the story, I guess you could say, but I will soon enough because I miss them, and I'm excited to read the epilogue because why not? Also, the Target edition is beautiful, beautiful. Another book that came out last year but just read this year is After You by Jojo Moyes. If you are new to my channel and you do not know, Movie for You by Jojo Moyes is my favorite book of all time. So yeah, so it was, I had to read this. I had to read it. And I enjoyed it for the most part. I think I rated it 3 or 3.5 stars on Goodreads, or 4, I'm not completely sure. But I remember I really enjoyed it, and I will tell you what the book is about, but really it will spoil the rest of the, the first book. But what I can tell you is that you don't have to read this book. Like, if you read Maybe For You, you don't have to read this. I read it because I love the characters and I love Lou a lot, so I wanted to know what happened to her after what happened in Maybe For You. But nonetheless, I loved seeing these characters. I loved hearing from them, and I felt everything once again when stuff happened. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but yeah. I tapped a little bit of it, mostly sad things that, yeah. I am a masochist. I also read this book, which you probably are saying like, what the hell? But I read Darth Vader and Friends by Jeffrey Brown. This was a gift from Kevin for my birthday, which came out really late, really late. But I read it and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of funny. It really doesn't have like that much of a story, but it follows like, you know, the Star Wars characters when they're little and Darth Vader being the father and stuff like that. I don't know. I think there's a series of these, but I have one of many. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was something that I wanted to read in the moment. Like, it wasn't necessary, but I wanted to, so here I am. The Winner's Curse by Marie Koski? I don't know how to say her name, I'm sorry. But I really loved this book, and then I also read The Winner's Crime by the same author, by Marie Koski, which is the second book of the series. The trilogy is already completed, and I have not read the third book, so yeah, I know. This book follows a girl where she lives in where she buys a slave, and then things happen. That's basically all I knew about the book, but I wanted to read it because the hype was real. But I read it really late. Like, this book came out like 2 years ago, and then this book came out last year, and then no, I don't know. Like, but these books are not new. They're kind of oldish. I think this book came out last year. So I'm reading them until now, and I actually read this book with Jen at Fictional Gooseberry. I'll leave her link down below, and I enjoyed it, so I'm a sucker for this. So now I'm going to tell you the books that I do not have in physical form, and I'm going to put the picture somewhere here so you can see what book I read, you know, that time. Okay, let's go. So in December I read, well, this was a book for December, but I finished it in January because I was having a hard time reading it. That is Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by David Levithan, and I cannot remember the other author. By Rachel Cohn. Rachel Cohn, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But this is a story about like dares, I guess you could say, of Dash and Lily. Honestly, to be completely honest, I don't remember half the book because that's how bad it was for me. Like, I had a hard time reading it. I had a hard time getting into it. I did not like the characters. I just didn't really like it. I think I gave it 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads just because I enjoyed some of it, but not really. Like I said, I don't remember half the book, so. We actually have a book talk. I'll also leave the links somewhere here down below if you want to check that out. I also read Cunning by Aletha Romay, which is the second book in a series, and that, I don't know if you have, well, you don't know because I didn't really record anything until a few weeks ago, but I'm reading this new series by Aletha Romay, which I have read the Consequences series last year, and I really enjoy it. So I said, why not keep on reading something more of Aletha Romay's? So I read more of her books, and this is the second book of her Infidelity series, and I am loving it. So far, I'm actually reading the third book right now, and I am really enjoying it. It's kind of like a suspense type of book. It's a new adult, kind of. Not really, I guess you could say it's new adult. I don't know. But I'm really enjoying it right now. There's a lot of stuff happening in the book, which I enjoyed, which is not only just sex, just let me tell you that. But I'm really loving it, so yes. Then I read With a Twist by Stacey Hart. I actually did not really enjoy it that much of a book. This book is about a ballerina and best friend, I guess you could say. I didn't really enjoy it, mostly because it happened so fast, and it happened all too quickly, and I didn't really enjoy that. Like, I guess I could understand it, but I didn't really enjoy it to the fullest. Another book that I read was Never Never Part 3, which is by Taryn Fisher and Colleen Hoover, and you will all know that I love Colleen Hoover. She's one of my favorite authors. But I just like this book a lot. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads because I enjoyed the characters and I loved what the story was going, but then the big reveal happened and it was kind of like... So yeah, that's basically it, and I will tell you what the book's about, but it's the third book, or the third part of the book, so... sorry. Another book that I've read is Breaking Him by R. Kelly. I have read 2 previous series by her and I really enjoyed it, but but this was kind of weird. I don't know why. It was kind of all over the place. Like, it was kind of hard to like focus on something. So I gave it 4 stars out of 5 stars. But nonetheless, the story captured my attention. So I was waiting for the second book because it's a companion book, or series, I guess you could say. And I also read that, and I actually didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first book, which was kind of ironic because I really wanted to enjoy the second book. I think I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads, or 3 stars, probably 3 stars. I'm not completely sure. I gave it 3 stars. Okay, let's move on. The next book that I read is A Stone in the Sea by A.L. Jackson. I probably messed up the title, but I'm not completely sure. But I'll leave the picture here if you want to see it. I read that book because a lot of people have been raving about it for some reason on my Goodreads page and on some of my people on Twitter. So I decided to give it a go. I read it, and I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but the ending kind of really made it for me, if that makes sense. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I really enjoy the characters. I love where the story was going, and I absolutely love where the story is heading right now, but I have not read that. So, and the last book, I guess you could say that I read, but it's not really a book, it's like a book of short novellas, is The Shadowhunter Academy by, I don't think that's the right name, but it's the whole, novellas with Simon and the others. And if you have not read The Moral Instruments, do not read this. Also, if you have not read The Infernal Devices, don't read this. I read this in preparation for Late at Midnight, and I can say that it was worth it, because the things that I felt during reading, like during this and during Late at Midnight, was just amazing. So that's why I love Lady Midnight a lot, because my battery died. So I don't know what was the last thing I was talking about. I think I was talking about my Lady Midnight feels, and yeah, but I guess I was done with the video already, but let's just continue. So thank you again for watching, and please let me know below if you have read any of the books, or tell me what you've been reading during the year, because a lot of people are reading stuff and I am kind of not reading at the moment because I have work to do. Great. But thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.